All right, so we made it to Titan. Darren, their in-house tuner who also tuned my Chaser, is gonna be tuning this today. This car is on ECU Master. It's a very similar setup to the last car. Same BC 264 cams with springs and retainers. The only real difference with this, instead of the G25 660, this car is the G30 660. So my predictions are, because it has the same size compressor, but a little bit bigger turbine, it'll probably fall off a little bit less, but still make around the same power. So I'm hoping we're still at full boost by 4 grand. We'll have a massive power band all the way to 8 grand of at least 500 wheel. It might make 600, it might not. I don't know, we'll just have to see. Not bad. 412 is and it's like super rich right now, and I know the timing's like super conservative. Yeah. So that was probably 18 pounds because it's just spring pressure.
So
that's good.
The line, right?
We're having boost control issues, so we just unhooked it all together. Holy 2,000 horsepower! Bro! Whoa! Whoa!
There you go.
Cars racing, bro!
2,000?
The funny thing is there's actually cars here that make 2,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're pretty much at the same power that the Chaser made at relatively the same boost. There might be a little bit more left in it with timing. One really interesting thing though, this car is the identical fuel setup as the Chaser, the GW400 with -6 lines, and we have no fueling issues whatsoever. Plenty of room, same D-Strix 1200cc injector, so that leads me to believe there might be an issue with the fuel pressure regulator, or something's leaking or doing something weird on the Chaser. But anyway, we're going to do a couple more pulls, make sure the transient throttle response stuff is good, make sure it can rev out to 8 grand so we have that full headroom for an actual drift car, and I don't know, it's getting pretty rad. So this is a comparison of the G25 660 versus the G36 660. You can see on the Chaser a little bit more power as it kind of spooled up. But up top, we kind of carried a little bit better with the G30. I know we did have to pull out some fuel in the Chaser, but this little meaty power band right there seems like it's the difference between the turbos. The one thing I will say though, obviously between chassis, wheel speed, there's a lot of different variables with transmissions and all that stuff, but still, you know, both turbos are rated at 660 crank and made about that, so. So while we're here at Titan, we're borrowing their scales real quick. Everyone's getting different bets going on. My guess is somewhere around like mid 2600s. That's what I'm hoping for at least.
Ooh, that hood, that rear end.
2650.
Not bad.
That's not bad at all.
The front rear isn't that bad either. Oh, you know what though? We have my super battery in there that weighs 60 pounds right now.
I'm gonna take it off real quick.
So there you go, 26.
Wait, do we have both batteries in the trunk?
No. Yeah, we actually do.
Yeah, we have 2 batteries in the trunk right now.
That Dyno, bro, for that Dyno.
Watch that number go down.
588.
We're in the 2500s, bro.
2550.
That hood?
Dude, the
And
hood,
the rear
hood
end.
and the rear got. Oh, we don't have a bumper on. That's still sick.
The bumper is not.
Oh, it doesn't
So
have
sick.
doors either.
Yeah.
So I think it's safe to say once we get like a proper battery in it, 2600.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
that's sick.
That's really good. 500 wheel, 2600 pounds. Woo, she's a
We're
ripper.
gonna feel that.
Okay, we're good. This is how I feel right now. The car made good power. It seemed responsive on the dyno. Driving around the parking lot, I don't know if it's the gearing or the drive-by-wire, but it's not good. Not good. And I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy or like I'm... Johan, will you agree with me? You could tell auditorily.
Yeah, I could hear it on the guard.
Something's
So.
wrong. The throttle just doesn't
Yeah.
feel good. ECU Master was helping us try to like dial it in, but it's very hard to do that stuff remotely. We're gonna try to just delete the drive-by-wire and go to a throttle cable. It just, compared to my Chaser that's such a similar setup, the Chaser's like, feels like a stock turbo. This one just like feels weird
Yeah,
and just like heavy, but it's such a light car, it should feel the opposite.
right. Knowing when it stalls, it sounds like it's stalling, like if you're on the throttle or like, but it's not. From my experience with my friend's car, it's doing the same thing that it did with his, and it has to be the throttle body
Yeah.
affecting it.
Can't have that.
Nope.
Nope, can't have that.
Nope.
I have no idea what diff is in my car. All I know is it is way too long because the gap between the gears, not having that. This is a 391. It's the shortest ratio we can get for this car. Gonna pull it apart, clean it up so that we can weld it and slap her back in. What do you think about my playlist, Mike? Also, what do you think about the fact that I didn't drain this?
The fact that it's gonna smell like
Woo!
shit.
Stanky boy. Fastest way to do it.
It sounds good.
I guess it's better it happens here than at the track, right? Sucks. It ripped for like a minute.
It sounded like it's 100% better.
It's better. It's still like,
Like,
yeah, like I gotta bounce off rev limiter. Like it still has a little bit bigger gap in between the gears than I think I prefer. Like I think a shorter rear end would really help it. But I'm pretty sure that was just the drive shaft that broke. Where did it break? On the welds?
Nope.
Where did it break?
Just in the middle.
Really?
You just shear off.
Never a dull moment with this guy.
At least it wasn't the trans.
Yo, that can't even smell sounds good, though.
Damn it, I polished it and everything.
Let's check it out. Oh, I see the problem. The bracket popped out. 100%. Would you agree that that's probably what happened? Because the threads aren't stripped, so that means the nut just backed off. So I'm going to have Alberto explain to you guys how to figure out what diff you have. Now, I'm going to spoiler alert you guys, and I realize that the car currently has a 291 in it. We built a spare diff that I thought was a 391, but it's not. And we're going to find out what it is, and then we're going to explain to you why this is no good right now. So, Alberto, how would you do this?
All right, so the ratio, the 291, that means you have 2.9 turns of the front of the differential to make one turn of the axles. So we're gonna do here, as I marked where my alignment mark is for the input shaft, and then the axle stub shafts also another line over here. So I'm gonna do one full turn, hold it, another one, so that's two, and then you'll notice that if we do a third one, it goes over. So we go a little bit back, and that's about like 9/10 of a turn. So that means it's at 2.9.
So the car feels really laggy, and it feels like there's a big gap between gears, but on the dyno, when you look at the actual graph compared to the Chaser, it doesn't really look like it's that much different. This is the explanation, because the Chaser has a 3.7 in it with a 6-speed, so close ratios plus a 3.7. A 291 is drastically longer. So the first gear in this is probably longer than the second gear in the Chaser, which is kind of wild to think. So the shortest ratio BMW diff is going to be a 391. So we're going to try to get our hands on one of those, weld it, and put it in this. So we'll have a little bit closer ratio so the car can stay in its power band.
That means like second gear OSW skid pad drifting all day.
Oh, 100%, yeah, for sure. But if I need to change a gear, it's going to be like, there's not a lot of headroom in third. It's going to be a lot of shifting.
I wonder if I have a 291 on my BMW, because I always have a hard time shifting to third. It's just too
So
much.
From what I understand, the 291 is the most common open diff in the BMW world. So that's why a lot of people will wind up with those welded.
Well, mine is LSD, but you can just swap the LSD core and put whatever ring gear you want. There's so many different configurations, like Legos.
Wait, so we can swap ring gears?
Yeah.
So I could just grab the ring gear from Ali's diff and just put it in that? And then I'll have a 391?
No, you can grab the core from this and put it on that one.
Yeah.
Because you have the ring gear, you also have the other one, the pinion gear. To match.
What's harder, to weld the LSD or to steal the open core from this and put it with the LSD gear ratio?
Still the open core is easier, probably.
Good to know.
Yeah. One other fun fact from the E36, especially when you swap over whatever engine and transmission you want, you don't have to worry about losing your speedo, because the speedo signal is right on the diff. So as long as you keep a E36 diff on there, you will always have a working speedo.
That's pretty cool.
Alright, so I'm finally mounting this. It's a little bit crooked now because I had to make room for this fitting. I ended up using a push lock fitting because it's the only 8th NPT fitting I had that's a 90 degrees, so I could fit it in there, and then I'll run that to the coolant overflow. Alberto's mounting a lightweight battery right now. We got some battery that weighs like 5 pounds.
That's so sick.
So sick, bro. Almost as sick as all the wine you've been drinking, Mike. You have a problem, Mike. All Mike does, drink wine. That's why the clips are never in focus, because he's always drinking wine. How are you going to focus when you're whining and not dining? It's another late, It's another late night, and I kind of knew this was gonna happen. That's why Mike's here helping film. Mike, could you imagine if I was trying to film and edit on top of all the stuff we do? Mike's been helping work on cars probably more than filming lately, so I appreciate that, Mike. It's like 2:30 a.m. Not that crazy late, but compared to the 4 a.m. light, not.
I think it was 4:45 when we went home that night.
Oof, it's 3. Also, Our neighbors decided that we can no longer park here, so I have to start selling cars. So comment below which cars you think I should sell the most.
You
For
can sell
now.
the JZX 100 to me.
You do like a big body car, I'll give you that. But for now, we're gonna do a quick cold start burnout. I'm just kidding. No burnouts tonight. We did that at 5 a.m. the other night.
You remember?
Bro, remember. Yeah, we're gonna wake up and then go to the track. Should be fun. I'll go back. Me and my ears are tired. No sleep. Johan left early last night, went back to his house. He has a bandsaw, so he cut and re-welded my drive shaft. I hope it works. I have faith in Johan, but I don't know if I have faith in a homemade drive shaft as a thing. So we'll see. Can you have Johan make you a custom drive shaft? We'll find out today. Drive shaft works. We had some voltage issues with the battery. We ended up stealing a battery from the truck. About to go test it. The only thing right now, I don't have a coolant temp gauge. We can log it with ECU Master, but I can't have the laptop in the passenger side because it's just gonna fly around. So I think what we're gonna do is like do lap, pull over, check coolant temps, do lap, pull over, check coolant temps. I'm excited to go shake the car down though. I'm not gonna set up a GoPro yet. I'm gonna go do a couple laps and then I'll circle back with you guys and let you know what I think. One lap, it was already at 230, and that's like, no bueno, no bueno. We're gonna do our best to salvage the session. I'm gonna try pulling the bumper off and still try to get a couple test laps in. I think the intercooler is too close to the radiator. I think the radiator needs a shroud, and I think that fan's not gonna cut it. So for now, we're just gonna do our best to make the best of the testing session. Hope the car drives well. No, check.
Keep it running, keep it running. Battery's good. Couplers are good.
Temps are okay. This is why you do a testing day. Fuel pump hose popped off, lost fuel pressure. I mean, luckily it's an easy fix, but
Yeah.
hey, you were the one that did that, right?
No.
You were the one that did the fuel pump?
No.
You sure?
Yep, I'm positive.
So I just copied the rev limiter settings over from my S15. I didn't realize I had logs of it on the computer. So now I won't have that annoying pop bang and it'll be a little bit more drivable up there. Listen to the difference. That hurt my ears so bad. Careful not to sound like too much of a negative Nancy. This is a testing day, so I'm like super focused on all the stuff that's wrong with the car. But the good thing is, like, I hopped in the car, first lap out, angle feels phenomenal. It feels very intuitive to drive, lots of self-steer. Everything just feels good. The handbrake feels good, steering, it feels light and nimble. It just doesn't have the forward grip that I need. I think part of it, the skid pad's just covered in dust, and I don't think that has much grip, so I'm gonna go do a lap on the oval and compare it there. But the throttle response, now that we deleted drive-by-wire, is sick, so. I'm happy with it. It's just, it's gonna need a day of testing to get it where we want. We got some solutions for the radiator too we're working on. My car is getting hot kind of quick. I'm letting it cool down a little bit and we'll go, okay? Hopefully we can get a one piece.
Oh boy.
It's fun for half a corner. one thing to note, I'm not super familiar with like ZF boxes, but it does like feel really good. The shifter, it shifts like smooth at higher RPM, does everything I'd expect it to do. I know a lot of people will use adapter kits to ZF instead of CD. I can see why. I think it's a lot smaller than a CD, isn't it?
Yeah, it's way smaller.
What do they handle for power?
Like I see people running
800?
Yeah.
So it's basically like another CD. Yeah, it's really cool, and I think the shifter feels a little bit more natural than the CD shifter. The CD shifters are just kind of tough because you always have to move it and relocate it. The Serial 9 shifter is really good, but still, this feels more like what you would expect it to. So, if you're curious what ZF box is, I approve.
Adam stole my car. He can break it if he wants, I don't really care, but it's cool to see my car drive for once. I've never seen it drive before, but it sounds good, looks good. So, oh, I think he's done. Oh God, I think it got hot. It probably got hot. Oh God.
This car's sick.
I'm
It's
stoked.
fun.
I'm actually really happy Adam likes it. That means a
No,
lot.
it's good.
It means a lot.
It's really easy to drive. Like I thought Shulman was a really good driver, but now it's all
Oh yeah,
fun.
you know, I just suck at it's easy to drive. Whatever.
No, so he has WiseFab on his car, and usually WiseFab doesn't drive nice. His car, I didn't even know it has WiseFab. The only thing that was like kind of weird to me is like if it's
What?
it feels like it for okay, I guess that makes sense because it's WiseFab. That's why there's not a lot of turns to lock.
Right.
It feels normal.
Yeah, it's nice. I like it.
Yeah. You got a little rubbing, I can feel that.
Yeah, a tiny bit.
All right, I kind of owe a little bit of an explanation to you guys. You've seen us kind of pulling a lot of late nights, and there's been a little bit of stress involved in this build, and the reason being, if you guys are familiar with Taylor Ray or his channel, there was a comp that he went to like in North Florida, and he was convincing me to try to get this thing ready to go to the comp so I could drive it with him. And we did our best, and today was supposed to be the testing day. Actually, tomorrow we have to leave for the comp, so it was like fingers crossed that everything works well. If not, last minute throw stuff together. But unfortunately, we're not gonna be able to get another drive shaft made. So the three things that I learned from this testing day, one, obviously the overheating issue. I'm gonna try to combat that with a little bit bigger fan. I'm gonna build out a shroud, and then I'm also gonna move the intercooler because it's so close to the radiator that I just have a feeling the fan's not wanting to suck through all that mass and all those fins. It's a good dual pass radiator, so I know that the radiator can do what I need it to do. I just don't think we're pulling enough air through it. So there's that. Number two thing that I learned from today is I need a beefier drive shaft, which I wish I could get made same day, but unfortunately I can't. So I'm gonna work on that. And then also, going through some logs and stuff, I'm convinced that we can do a little bit more of the VVTi on the car and get the turbo to spool a little bit faster, more like the White Chaser. So Darren told me we can get back on the dyno and we can dial some stuff in, and we can probably get this car a little bit more responsive. But overall, unfortunately, I didn't have any sort of like in-car cameras like I would have preferred to for you guys, because I think that's way more fun to watch than out-of-car clips. I just didn't expect it to break so fast. So hopefully we'll have this thing back together, I don't know, maybe in a week or so, depending on how fast we can get a drive shaft. I overnighted a fan. We were going to try to make the event, but when I broke our second drive shaft, it was like, well, oh well. So unfortunately, no comp with the E36 for me, but maybe next time. Anyway though, thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's exciting getting the car tuned on the dyno. Made Brad Powers. Dude, we're still so tired.
I know.
So tired. And then we're going to be getting into something even completely separate tonight, which you guys will find out in the next video. But anyway, the things I do for love of cars. Remember?
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 When you said